Well, good morning, Buckeye Nation and college football fans everywhere. Grab the coffee, crack open that window, feel that brisk December air. Guys, here we are. It's the OHIO Podcast Saturday morning show. I am your host, the Wild Man, Chris Wild. So much to talk about in college football right now, guys. We got bowl season. It's about to really heat up over the next few days. We got the Buckeyes and Hurricanes preparing to square off in the Cotton Bowl. The coaching search, it's over in Ann Arbor. So much more. But before we talk football, let me remind you to please like, share this and all the shows on our OHIO podcast channel. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so that you get notified anytime we drop new content, which, guys, it is multiple times per day. Now, if you haven't done so, make sure to hop on over, check out our Patreon channel. We have 3 great levels of membership on Patreon. You can become a free member where you get access to some of our content and one of our message boards. We got the $5 membership, which opens up the floodgate for you. You get all kinds of great extra content. You get all of Buck Vader's message boards, some of the best information out there from one of the best insiders, most just connected guys in the game, Buck Vader. You also have shows like TG's Buckeyes in the NFL. You've got Mika's Illuminati program. You've got myself and my What Drives Me Wild segments. You got Talking Buckeyes with Boggsy. More shows coming soon. The Schrock Star is working on something. We've got Corey working on things. We've got Nashville Nate. We've got Alex. Everybody involved with the podcast is going to have something going over on Patreon. So make sure to go over and check it out. You get that all for as little as $5 a month, including our free live game watch interactive parties that we do on there as well. Now, before we get started, guys, this episode is brought to you by MyBookie.com. College football, NFL, parlays, live betting. MyBookie.com is where the smart fans put their money. Head on over to MyBookie.com. Use promo code OHIO. Get up to $500 in bet back insurance. Guys, you already break the game down like a pro. Now you can bet like one. Go to MyBookie.com. All right, guys, let's start this thing out with, first let's talk to everybody in the chat here. Say good morning to everybody so I can see who all is in here with us, and then we'll get started. It's just me, 79. Hey, great to see you. What's Kyle? Not so Wittingham. I'll show myself out. Good to see you, Tyler. Great to see you this morning. Mean Green's up in the chat this morning. I just mentioned him, our great insider, Buck Vader. He is in the chat with us this morning. Who knows what kind of tidbits he could drop on us as we go. Oh, Troy, good to see you, buddy. Jason, always good to see you in the chat as well. Coconut, how's it going, buddy? Over there in the Philippines? Ooh. Man, I bet the weather's a lot nicer there than it is here right now. Oh, let's see. Who else do we have out there with us? Is that it for right now? Oh, Ryan Wickerham's in the chat. Our buddy Ryan, host of one of the best tailgates by far, maybe the best tailgate by far you could ever experience as a Buckeye fan, Ryan Wickerham. All right, guys. Speaking of our Buckeyes, let's dive in. Ohio State versus Miami. College football playoff quarterfinal. Man, this one's got a vibe. It has a vibe. We're not panicked. I don't think we're going to be tight. Guys, we are not broken, as some might say, after that Indiana loss. This is an angry, controlled, and I believe purposeful, I think is a good word, team. That Indiana loss, it didn't break our spirit. It lit a fuse. Much like what happened last year with that game versus the team up north. Inside the Woody, the tone hasn't been a woe is me or woe is us. It's been, you didn't get our best, and now you're going to see our best. And Ryan Day and Coach Mick and all the assistants, they didn't waste time in December. This was not a time waste. This was not a let's lick our wounds, let's take it easy. Nah, they very specifically engineered the plan for this month. This was a practice plan that was built to peak December 31st, not December 10th. Early practices were about getting our legs back under us, getting our minds right, just flushing that Big Ten loss out of our system. But now it's something different. It's about speed. It's about efficiency. It's about execution. It's about pop. It's about violence with purpose. The veteran guys, they haven't been coddled through this. They were challenged. And I think that Ryan Day and his staff have laid out a very clear message. You lost to Indiana. You lost the Big Ten title. Now go out and respond like men. Don't leave this thing how it is. Fix everything. And I look at some of these guys, and Tyler, yes, I did. I did, by the way, buddy. Let's talk about the offense for a minute. Because the defense looked very good versus Indiana. They handled the Heisman Trophy winner. But the offense struggled. And now they take this personally. They take this personally. And some people will say, well, it had something to do with Brian Hartline and the fact that he wasn't 100% there. He wasn't focused. And maybe that's partially true. But, I think this is an Ohio State team that is taking this personally. And I think that people in that locker room are angry. And one of those angry people, I think, is Jeremiah Smith. He was passed over for the Biletnikoff. He didn't get his Big Ten title for the second year in a row. I think they feel disrespected by the result, by the noise, by the idea that Indiana somehow, the Indiana team exploited them, or they said to Ohio State, you are who we thought you were. And I don't think that's the case. And these guys don't think that's the case. And I think Jeremiah Smith is becoming the outspoken leader of this unit. As a Florida kid, I think he has something extra personal going in this game. He actually called out the Miami fans and their inability to let go of the past. They can't forget 2002. They talk about it all the time. They whine about it. They cry about it. And he called them out for it. This is a kid right now who's carrying some anger and a big chip on his shoulder. And let me tell you something. With the talent that he has, the talent around him, that is very dangerous. Julian Sand has been quietly telling anybody who's listening that the game is slowed down for him now. He knows what he's doing. He can process quickly. The game is slowed down. It's coming to him now. He doesn't have to necessarily attack the game, but now he's ready to. So if the game is slowed down for him and he's processing quicker and he's reading things faster, and could this mean more tempo, more rhythm, more command? Are we going to see Ohio State leaning into spacing, quick game, tempo throws, not standing around and letting Miami just letting their pass rush tee off? I expect more moving pockets. I expect more perimeter touches. I expect rhythm throws. Letting matchup dudes like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Max Clare, letting them win in space. This is not going to be the hold the ball and pray plan. This is not going to be what we saw versus Indiana. Let's remember, and great point, Tyler, Ryan Day is in the quarterback room. Make no mistake. But let's remember, Ryan Day has taken back the offensive playbook. This is not going to be the steady as she goes, grind it out, keep it simple, stupid offense we saw under Hartline. Ryan Day is an innovator. Ryan Day is the architect. And if he remembers that, if he remembers who he is, if he remembers the play caller that Urban Meyer had praised and pushed to be the next head coach at Ohio State, if he remembers all that and shows the aggression that we saw last season when the Buckeyes hit the playoffs, this becomes a strike-first offense designed to neutralize pressure and destroy opposing defenses. Let's see. Thank God Ryan Day is taking play because Heartline sucked. You know what? I don't know how much he sucked versus how much he was pigeonholed. I don't know that Ryan Day ever truly trusted Brian Hartline with the play calling altogether. And I think it was very much what I said. It was a vanilla, keep it stupid offense that he ran. Or keep it simple, stupid offense that he ran. In my opinion, this game doesn't need to be close. I agree. I agree 100%. I think it's at least a 2-score game. I think Ohio State at least beats them by 2 scores, if not more. I mean, this is not... Miami has a good defense. I'm not going to criticize that. They have a good defense. They have not seen a defense like Ohio State. So I look for their offense to struggle tremendously. And as far as our offense goes, they've never seen anything like that either. Let's face it, they play in the softest conference in all college football. The ACC is basically the MAC plus. But you know, let's talk concerns. Let's talk concerns because we do have some. We have to admit it. They have 2 tremendous defensive ends. I'm not going to your defense is nowhere near what Ohio State's is, so back off. The one thing that Ohio State or that they have, the one thing that Miami does have is a tremendous pass rush. They have 2 absolutely fabulous defensive ends. And I'm not going to criticize those guys. They are legit. And we're talking about an Ohio State offensive line that Tegra's out. And he's out with an undisclosed upper body injury. So we have to do an interior shuffle. And yes, this matters because of Miami's defensive line, which may be, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due, it may be the best defensive line that Ohio State faces all year. However, that being said, there are ways to A, neutralize that, and B, Tegra at times was more of a liability than he was an asset. I think the fact that we're going to have Padilla and Van Sickle in there as opposed to Tegra is actually going to benefit us. We have a depth that Miami does not have. Our offensive line, we can rotate more. we can actually let them try it to come at us, and we can play this as the long game. Guys, give up. This is the little troll's in here. He's trying to start stuff, and obviously he has never watched a down of football in his life. The guy doesn't know a football from a Fruit Loop. So just let it go. Anyhow, this is the storyline: protection, continuity, communication. That's why the staff has used the extra time to prep. Build confidence in those younger backs and receivers. Cross-train your linemen. That's something that Ryan Day and Tyler Bowen and Everett has done this season. Our offensive linemen can move up and down that line. Prepare for attrition like professionals. Guys, we said this when we saw Ryan Day in the playoffs last season. This was no longer, he was no longer approaching things the same way. He was a CEO, and this team was doing everything like a business transaction. Every movement, every motion, everything is a business transaction. And guys, this is a team that we know. We know what Ohio State is. They think they know, but they don't know jack. They know how to lose to teams like Louisville. Come on, seriously? Louisville? I mean, what a joke. Okay. Now let's look inside that Miami program a little bit, because as much as we want to take it lightly because of the joke that they are, we have to admit they are a legitimate opponent. They have a disruptive defensive line. They've cleaned up their penalties a bit. They have a very good physical run game. Fletcher is a tremendous running back. And they've got a future star at wideout in Malachi Tooney. Yes, Ohio State is the deeper roster, the more talented roster. Yes, they have a Heisman finalist at quarterback. But analysts will tell you, and I'm going to tell you, even as a Buckeye-friendly analyst, if Ohio State gets sloppy, if they get lazy, if they decide to rest on their laurels whatsoever, if they take their foot on the gas, there is potential for an upset. If Ohio State goes out and plays like the team that they are, with the talent that they have, and the offensive genius that they have running this team, they beat Miami and run them off the field by 3 scores. I think it's that simple. And history doesn't matter. Yes, we're 2-2 versus Miami historically. Yes, we beat their butts in 2002, legitimately, by the way, for that national title. Oh my God, it shouldn't have even gone to overtime. They got away with a pass interference earlier on that actually would have ended this thing in regulation and allowed Ohio State to just kneel. They want to conveniently forget that. They want to rewrite history. They're revisionists. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. 2002 doesn't matter. 2011 doesn't matter. What matters is execution. And we have a quarterback who defines it. We have an excellence of execution at quarterback. He comes up with the highest PFF rating of any quarterback in the playoffs. He comes in completing an absurdly high amount of his passes. Execution is going to matter. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ohio State does and will execute better than the Hurricanes. You know, and they're going to say, well, what happened versus Indiana? You know what? We own it. We own the Indiana loss. We admit it. As fans, as a team, they admit it. And you know what? The staff did something very, very, I think, wise here. They let that loss sting for a little bit. But not rot. They didn't let it fester. They came out with an attitude of accountability over excuses. Because, my God, the officiating in that game was so bad. Ohio State had all kinds of excuses they could have made. They did. How many times was Kenyatta ridden to the ground by two guys? But they didn't complain. It's urgency without panic. This team knows what's in front of them. They have a clear path to repeat as national champions for the first time in the school's history. They're locked in. They're ramping up. And right now, you better believe this is a team that is emotionally galvanized. And they are going to, as long as this offensive line holds up, and mark my words, Ryan Day is scheming ways to assist this offensive line. And as long as this line holds up, Ohio State's offensive mindset is the Death Star. It is the ultimate weapon in the universe. And Ryan Day is going to show that power. He is going to unleash that power. I truly believe that. I truly believe that what we saw through the first 12 games was an aberration. So, that's what I've got as far as Ohio State versus Miami right now. We may revisit it a little bit here later when I do my bowl rundown. But that's where I'm at right now. This is an Ohio State team poised and ready. And we are going to go through and we're going to review a few chats here real quick before we jump into our next segment. Yeah, I agree. It's time to play for keeps. Balls to the wall. Absolutely. That's what we got coming. Mean Green. Miami is about to find out what a real team is like the hard way. I agree 100%. The ACC is like the 13th grade right now. There's no credit. Your champion was 6-5. Pathetic. Oh, let's see what we got here. Was gonna like and subscribe, but now I won't. That's your choice, buddy. You're more than welcome to stay. We value opinions from other people, but you know, at the same time, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. If that's the attitude you're gonna have, you're gonna be a typical whiny cry Miami fan. You might as well be like Notre Dame fans. Just take your ball and go home. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, Miami fans rather party on the beach than support their team. Yeah, probably. Coconut, I can't throw that one up there. I can't throw the Michael Irvin related comment up there, but you know. Here we go. Question: do you think Ryan Day will consider the Bengals job if it becomes open? So many Ohio State players on that roster. You know what? I think he's going to be offered both Ohio pro jobs. I really do. I think at the end of this season, Kevin Stefanski and Zach Taylor are both gone. I think Ryan Day's name is going to be thrown up for both of those jobs. Both of these teams have Ohio State players on them. I hope for Ryan Day's sake he does not even consider either of these teams. He has a great thing going at Ohio State. And honestly, Ohio, and I'm saying this as a Browns fan, Ohio professional football is the place coaches go to die. It is a career killer. 31-13 Buckeyes move on. I love it. Big time players, big time plays, and big time games. Yes, absolutely. Who's going to stop the Ohio State steamroller? I think the only team that can beat Ohio State is Ohio State. I 100% believe that, guys. Let's see here what we got here. It looks like, yeah, I can't disagree. I think the best football team in Ohio is in Columbus. Absolutely. I think Ohio State is the best football team in the state of Ohio. And I'm not so sure with the Aviators won't be number 2 by the time all's said and done. I've grown up a Browns fan. And even as a Browns fan, I've always been a big Joe Burrow fan. For the Bengals, of course. I think the Bengals have had some great players. But the fact is, and I said it before and I'll say it again, Ohio sports is where careers go to die. Ohio professional sports is where careers go to die. And it's sad. All right, guys. Hey, appreciate all the comments. Remember, you want your comment up to the front of the line, make sure you throw in a super chat for us. We're going to go ahead and hop over to segment 2. And this is one I know Tyler's been waiting on. Because we have to talk about the end of the coaching carousel. Michigan hires Kyle Wittingham to be their next head coach. So let's talk about that a little bit. And Buckeye fans, do me a favor. Don't laugh this off. But you know what? Don't panic. This is a 66-year-old grown-up who has spent 2 decades turning Utah into a line of scrimmage street fight factory. Excuse me. Tough teams, real defense, no nonsense, and what may appeal to the team up north more than anything, no circus. No circus. Utah under Kyle Wittingham has had elite run defenses. They've developed NFL quality talent. They've had physical offensive lines, and they play very good complementary football. You know, they're not flashy. They're not overly innovative. They were we're going to punch you in the mouth, stand there and trade punches with you and see who flinches type of team. And guys, that's what Michigan wants. That is what they want their identity to be. But more than anything, Kyle Wittingham is an adult. And after the sign stealing embarrassment, after NCAA sanctions, after the Moore's dismissal and arrest, after Matt Weiss, after cheeseburgers, after recruiting violations, after Connor Stallions, after all this, that's what Michigan needed, was a grown-up. And yeah, you're right. Utah has been perennial, I wouldn't say 3 or 4, 2 or 3 lost team. But they never had the talent that Kyle Whittingham's going to have at Michigan. Because let's not deny it, guys. I don't consider them a blue blood. I really don't, even though they're the winningest program in college football history by the numbers, as far as the number of wins. I don't want to dismiss them. They still are a brand. They still can recruit at a level higher than what Kyle Whittingham had at Utah. And Michigan wasn't looking to hire the next young wizard. They were hitting a reset button. They want low drama, a clean reputation, and they want military level accountability. And from a branding standpoint, that's what they should want. This hire tells you everything. Michigan wants to talk about football again and not investigations. And I don't like them. I despise them. I hate them. There's nothing positive I can say about the University of Michigan or their teams. However, I can respect the move in hiring Wittingham to try to right the ship. So we have to look, what does this mean to Ohio State? What's it mean to the Big Ten? What's it mean to the bigger picture of college football? This is not a schematic revolution. Michigan is doubling down right now on winning the trenches, a defense first identity, a run game, and clock control. This is what's defined them in the past. This is what they want them to define them in the future. They want a 4-quarter fist fight. And they want Utah, but they want Utah in maize and blue. And I don't know if they can get there, but I think they've got the right guy at the helm to try to take them there. The biggest issue, obviously, is his age. And we'll address that again later. For the Big Ten, this raises Michigan's floor. It really does. I think stability in a league dealing with chaos right now. Nationally, it reinforces that physical football still travels in the playoff era. Whittingham's not the sexy pick. They talked about DeBoer. They talked about Dillingham. He's not loud. He's not trending on TikTok. He's not going to come in and say how much Ohio State and Indiana suck. But he's consistent. He's not going to tell you to Google him. The guys I'm telling you right now, Google him. Look at what he's done. Because he's not been leading teams national titles. But man, he's been awfully good for an awfully long time. And he runs a clean program. He's consistent. And guys, consistency will keep you relevant. So throw it up there in the chat, guys. Throw up your thoughts on Kyle Whittingham as Michigan's new head coach. Because I'll tell you, I really do. I think this was a great hire for Michigan. I mean, if you look at him overall now, granted, he's been coaching for 22 years. He's got a win-loss record of 177 and 68. He's won in about 67% of his games, which may not blow you away. But guys, he has had in 22 years. Let's see what's he had. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's had almost half of those as double digit win seasons, including coming off of this season. He's 11-6 in bowl games. And he has taken Utah to a level of greatness by their standards. And Skater Boy, I'm going to get to your comment here in a second, but Captain, Captain got to say the right man to get them out of their criminal funk and armed to the next. Yes, I agree. I agree. At 66, he's not a young guy. He is a band-aid they're putting on this wound, but I agree he is the guy who can straighten out and legitimize this program again. Yeah, Skater Boy. The NCAA is not going to be good for this guy because he runs a clean program. Coconut. Yeah, perfectly just said. A man with integrity, and you can respect that. But are they going to dump Ward? And that's a good question. That's a great question because I think he's still a big part of the problem. Let's see. J Carb. Living in Miami as a diehard Buckeyes fan is rough with all the delusional Miami trash talk. Yeah. I feel for you. And it's like Jeremiah Smith said. These delusional fools are still whining about O2. And you know what? They're so full of crap. I guarantee you everybody in Miami has brown eyes because they're all that full of crap. Let's see. Solid hire considering the situation there. And I agree, Bob. Yes, that is correct. He is 0-5 in his last 5 bowl games. He did win 5 consecutive prior to that, though. And actually, prior to that, he'd gone, 10-1. So he was 10-1 prior to the last 5. Hello, Colonel. All right. Looks like we're caught up in the chat. So, guys, let's hop over and let's discuss a little bit about the slate of games we've got coming up. And I'm going to talk specifically starting today. And we're going to go ahead and run it right on through January 2nd, which is the last of what I would call the regular bowl season. In the corner file. Let's see here. I'm going to touch on this one. Mean Green. I'll touch on this before I start. Now that Scum has got their head coach, does this mean Jabba the Hutt Manuel is out the door and fired? I don't know. Conventional wisdom should say that he should be gone. It's going to depend on how much backing he has from the Board of Regents. And it's going to depend on his relationship with Kyle Wittingham. Was he the reason Kyle Wittingham came in? Are they concerned that if Ward goes, Kyle may not be long to follow? Yeah. You know what? We really thought Ward was filed. You're right, Troy. We thought Ward was filed. We had fired. We had insider information that stated Ward was fired. There is rumor that he has been told that he's going to be fired. And again, that's a rumor. It's been told he's going to be fired, but they wanted him to wait out this coaching search. And also, they were going to kind of let it go, I guess, under the radar. Not even sure what we got here. You unpaid mod, so lame. Imagine controlling so one account you don't have any access to or not making a penny. You so lame. Do me a favor, as someone who works at, as someone who values education, can you please do me a favor and perhaps learn how to structure a proper sentence before coming back in here and posting something like this that is completely incoherent garbage? You can do better. Michigan is getting a QB from the transfer portal. Could be. Colonel, I don't know about all this. I can't speak on this. I have not gotten this information. Um, yeah, Tyler, the trolls are back, and that's okay. That's all right. We don't mind them. Coconut, who is a teacher, basically reiterated what I had told our young fan from Alabama. Please educate yourself before you come in here and start acting a fool. You want him to keep Underwood? You know what, guys? My gut instinct tells me Underwood probably enters the portal. And I'm going to tell you something. I think Underwood goes somewhere else. And I think if he goes to LSU, and I think if he goes to Lane Kiffin, uh, his career takes a different direction. Because let's not deny it, the kid has natural talent. Is he overrated? Yes. Is he overpaid? Absolutely. Does he struggle? Sure does. Is he without talent? Absolutely not. He's without somebody to help develop that talent. I think if Underwood goes somewhere where he can be developed, Underwood has the talent to go from underwhelming to Underwood. All right. Okay, guys. So enough about the scum, enough about the cheaters up north. We're done with them for now. I'm going to go ahead and run through the slate of today's games. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the post or the chat. I will see what I can do about coming back and getting them. We're going to take a quick look at the rest of bowl season. So we're gonna take a look at what the rest of the season looks like, and we're gonna start with today's games. And the first game we got kicking off is the Military Bowl. That is going to be Pitt versus East Carolina. Now, Pitt is a team, the late season offensive surge they've had under quarterback Mason Henschel. He's had four 300-yard passing games since he came in. They're going to collide with an East Carolina defense that's lean on physicality, but they're going to be adjusting because they are missing some key contributors. Pittsburgh's front has been stout against the run. They put pressure on the quarterback, and I think they can do that against ECU today. Look for Narduzzi to lean on a balanced script, trusting his defense, forcing long field goals, capitalizing on ECU's change at quarterback. I think if Pitt protects the ball and wins the early downs, that Pitt is going to absolutely manhandle this East Carolina team. I don't care if the spread's Pitt laying 13.5. I really feel like Pitt is the team to beat here. Then we go to the Pinstripe Bowl, or as I like to call it, the Ohio State Broke Us Bowl. And that's Clemson versus Penn State. The Pinstripe Bowl is set up as this is going to be kind of an ugly war of attrition. Both teams missing a lot of key players. Both teams are going to see their starting quarterbacks play, though. Cade Klubnik and Ethan Grunkenmeyer. Clemson closed out the regular season, 4-game winning streak, has a good defensive core that can really, I think, put a lot of stress on a Penn State offensive line that has multiple absences. Then you look at the Tigers' ability to generate pressure without a blitz. If they can do that, they could really limit Penn State's vertical game and force the Nittany Lions to throw everything underneath and make them have long drives to score. And yeah, Troy, you're right. This was one that wasn't just predicted to be a playoff game. There were people saying this was going to be the national championship game. Guys, I'm telling you, if you're looking for a sure bet in this one, I think it's the under. I think the under is a surefire bet in there. I mean, they're 47.5. These are two offenses that are going to struggle mightily, I think. Then we have to, since everybody's got to have a bowl game, we've got the Fenway Bowl. We just had the Pinstripe Bowl from Yankee Stadium. We're going to go to Fenway Park now for UConn versus Army. UConn is looking for a 10th win. Army has a methodical ground attack. It's going to be like a stylistic chess match in this one, guys. The Huskies are high efficiency, low turnover passing game. They've only turned the ball over twice all season, but they did lose their starting quarterback. So that's something to keep in mind. They've had several opt-outs, which, that's going to complicate their offensive ceiling. Army has a largely intact roster. Why? Because if you want commitment from a man, you get one of these guys who's going to these military academies. They know a whole hell of a lot about commitment. They aren't going anywhere. They're not going to turn their back on their brothers, on their team. So Army's going to try to control the clock. They're going to try to do tempo. They're going to have a rushing attack. They're probably going to go over 200 yards here because they routinely do. So I don't know how to feel this one out. I just think that Army is got all these guys back. I think UConn's got too much on the bench. I really feel like Army's going to be the team to go with in this one. Just so you're aware, Penn State fan there, Carson Beck is possibly the most overrated quarterback in all college football, next to Blake underwhelming up at Michigan. The difference, underwhelming has talent. He just can't get it developed. Okay, let's hop over to what I think might be the best bowl game of the day. And that's going to be the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Number 12, BYU. Number 22, Georgia Tech. BYU's got that trademark physicality and efficiency. Good passing game. Solid running game. Georgia Tech, they've got speed. They get good pressure. Georgia Tech's offense has evolved into an explosive space-driven unit at times. BYU, of course, they run that spread. They horizontally stretch the field. They like to create one-on-one matchups, specifically against linebackers in coverage. The matchup in this one that's going to be interesting is the red zone. Because BYU typically has excelled in situational football. They're very good at situational football. Georgia Tech has been all or nothing. It's boom or bust when they get in the red zone. So look for BYU to lean on its power run game to stretch the field with its horizontal passing game. Try to control the time of possession. Georgia Tech's best path to a win here is if they have a ton of possessions, because typically, as I said, it's all or nothing. They're either getting a touchdown or they're not getting anything. So, Arizona Bowl time. Miami of Ohio, Fresno State. Miami of Ohio, a disciplined team. Defense first team. Fresno State, a team that thrives on tempo and spread offense. The Red Hawks have been very efficient at keeping teams to the low to mid 20s. They do a good job of leveraging field position. They take a very conservative approach to the game and just try to stay within striking distance. Fresno State, they're going to try to dictate the pace here, guys. They want to force Miami out of its comfort zone. They want to have this as an up and down matchup. They want to attack on early downs. They want to stress the secondary. They want to take vertical shots off the RPO. If Miami can win on special teams and can be defensively sound, they have a shot. Otherwise, I think Fresno State wins this one big, as in huge. A few new people in the chat. Yeah, Renee. They did indeed get Kyle Wittingham going to Michigan. We touched on that earlier. I think it was a great hire for the Scum. I think it brings some credibility and integrity to the program. Let's see here. Buckeye Nation, Penn State bot. Give it a rest. Sadly, this is not a bot. It's just a moron. Dr. Defense, Jim Knowles. You know what? Jim Knowles doesn't Dr. Defense till year 3. And what exactly does this matter again? It doesn't. It doesn't. Take yourself and go. You know what? Either play nice with the friends in my friends in the chat, or you're gonna have to go home. You can take your ball and go home like Notre Dame. Okay, so we talked Arizona Bowl now. Let's talk another Western States Bowl. Let's talk about the New Mexico Bowl. Number 25, North Texas versus San Diego State. The New Mexico Bowl stage is another, again, number 25, Texas. Explosive offense against a San Diego State traditionally rugged defense. They want to control the ball. I couldn't pass it up, Renee. I'm sorry. They want to control the ball. The Aztecs prefer to shorten the game. They want to do much like Ohio State has done much of this year. They want to be very methodical. They want to control the tempo. They want to keep things going at a slow pace and keep that explosive North Texas offense off the field. If North Texas turns this into a track meet, this is an absolute beatdown. Missouri versus number 19 Virginia, or what we like to call it, just another mid ACC team. Because let's face it, that's all they have. The Gator Bowl, you look at the contrast in styles. Missouri, very physical, SEC brand of football. Virginia's a balanced, efficient attack, both passing and rushing. Missouri's path to this is to control the line of scrimmage. If they win the line of scrimmage on defense early and force Virginia's offense into predictable passing situations, Virginia's going to be in trouble. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. Virginia is all about being efficient, playing situational football, about moving the field position, flipping the field position when necessary. They do well on third downs. They do well in the red zone, but they have to get there. Expect a possession game here. Expect a game driven by field goals. Special teams is going to matter in this one. It really is. And for that reason, I like Missouri. The Texas Bowl, where we see another SEC team beating up on a team that's probably overrated from a weaker conference, and that being number 21 Houston. The Texas Bowl, why? Why do we even have it? I mean, seriously. I mean, you've got number 21 Houston versus an LSU team that has a very high ceiling. But honestly, Houston's tough. Defensively is going to be the question. Can they hang? LSU's quarterback play, their perimeter talent, give them a clear explosiveness edge. Houston can, really lean on they're still developing defense. They've got to make sure they don't get beat by deep vertical shots. Third down defense, red zone defense, it is key in this one. You've got to get LSU off the field. The more chances you give their talented, skilled position players, the worse it's going to be for you. So Houston, you need to take care of business defensively, and that is your path to victory. So let's talk about now on the 29th, the Birmingham Bowl. This one coming up Monday. Georgia Southern and App State. Georgia Southern, they're pass happy, man. They are pass happy. App State, of course, battle tested Sun Belt team. Georgia Southern's going to try to spread the field out. They're going to push tempo. They're going to force App State to cover sideline to sideline, defend a high volume of snaps. App State is going to try to win this thing in the trenches. They're going to try to slow this game down. They're going to try to run the ball right down your throat the entire game. The team that handles third down and medium and stays out of obvious long passing downs is the team that wins this. It's that simple. Then on the 30th, we have a whole slate of bowl games again, guys. Let's start with the Independence Bowl. Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Tech. Coastal Carolina is going to, they're transitioning. They've got an interim coach in Jeremiah Johnson. They're against the Louisiana Tech squad that, actually has one of the better efficiency defenses in the country. Coastal's offense has been inconsistent, and they haven't beaten a team that's finished over 500 all year. And now it faces a front that ranks in the top 20 nationally in rushing yards per game allowed. Louisiana Tech's ground game averages over 200 yards per game. I don't see any way that Coastal Carolina can survive this. I think this is an easy win for Louisiana Tech. The Music City Bowl. And this, again, two teams that at the beginning of the season, a lot of people thought very highly of. That being Tennessee and Illinois. It feels like a quasi-home game for Tennessee. Nashville's only 3 hours from their campus. The Vols obviously hold an edge and explosiveness. Their quarterback, Joey Aguilar, he is capable of punishing the Illini secondary. I truly believe that. It's missing pieces. However, Illinois has a physical run game that can slow this thing down. You've got a disciplined approach that Brett Bielema is going to bring to this as far as the play calling goes. They are going to try to shorten this game. They're going to pound away at defense, the Tennessee's front seven. I think it's going to be closer than most people think. I think it's going to be closer than most people think. Let's see here. What's going on in the chat now, guys? I've lost a little bit of track of the chat, but guys, let's keep it civil. Yeah, this does take some stones, Coconut. I don't disagree. And clearly, he must be using the Facebook fact checkers because he's wrong as usual. Okay. So, January 30th again, we've got the Alamo Bowl, number 16 USC and TCU. It's going to be a showcase of quarterback play. You got Miller Maivia headlining the 9-3 USC Trojans. Their offense, man, it's been potent. It has been potent. You've got some skill guys opting out, but I'm telling you, I think that Maivia gives Lincoln Riley a lot of firepower. And he can attack all levels of the field. You look at TCU; they're going to try to muddy this game. They're going to bring pressure. They're going to disguise defenses. Uh, but this is a defense that struggled at time against top tier passing attacks. I think that the USC offensive line, I think it holds up, and I think the Trojans avoid the negative plays that fueled their 3 losses. They've got depth and tempo, and I think that gives them an edge in San Antonio. Let's talk about the day we're all waiting for, and that being December 31st. Now, we start off the day with Iowa, number 23 Iowa versus number 14 Vandy. Vanderbilt's been the feel-good story of the season, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of people thought Vanderbilt might make a playoff push. Iowa, they're Iowa. They are who we thought they were. I think that is the best way to describe Iowa because they bring the same thing to the table every year. Solid defense, methodical offense, occasional big play out of the quarterback, but for the most part, they are who they thought we were. Vanderbilt, they bring more dynamic offense. They had a quarterback who was in the Heisman conversation with Diego Pavia. And I think they're going to test this Iowa secondary. I think Pavia is a lot better than what people think. And I honestly think that this Vanderbilt team is probably going to be superior to this Iowa team. I just don't think Iowa can generate enough offense. I think they can handle them defensively. I don't think they can generate the offense. So let's hop over to the Sun Bowl now, where we have the Sun Devils versus the Blue Devils. That's right, Arizona State versus Duke. ACC champion Duke. ACC champion Duke. They are one of the nation's most efficient offenses against an Arizona State team that really relies on Jeff Sims' dual threat ability. You look at Duke as they sit in the top 20 in points per play. They're third nationally in fourth down conversion rate. This underscores an aggressive mindset that can tilt momentum in a bowl game like this. Arizona State, they've battled some efficiency issues. They're outside the top 100 in points per play. But Sims' running upside, his rushing ability, and Dillingham's tempo, they had volatility to this matchup, guys. If Duke limits the turnovers where it is and keeps this game clean, I think they stand a chance to be competitive. Otherwise, I like Arizona State to run all over them. Then the Ohio State ruined my season bowl as number 13 Texas faces off against number 18 Michigan. The Citrus Bowl sets up as a big time showdown. Both historic programs, both rosters built around NFL caliber trench players. Texas's offense been more explosive over the balance of the season. This is not the team we saw week 1 in Columbus. Michigan remains, balanced. They like the physicality on both sides of the ball. They will be the key will be who wins the early downs. If Texas stays ahead of the chains, they stay in favorable passing downs, then I think that they are going to win this. If Michigan creates a lot of third and long, Texas is in trouble. Likewise, I think if Michigan can control the tempo, I think if they can get themselves into third and short and stay ahead of the game on first down, I think this is a Michigan team that could beat Texas. I don't know. I think it's kind of a pick 'em. You have to wait and see what happens. The Las Vegas Bowl, we got number 15 Utah playing a Dylan Raiola-less Nebraska team, as Dylan Raiola is in the transfer portal. The Vegas Bowl brings together these two teams. It's going to be a physical run game by Utah. That's what you're going to get a heavy dose of. A defense first type game out of both these teams, I believe. I think that this is one of the more games we're going to see a lot of efficiency, not a lot of wasted moments. You're going to see clock used. You're not going to see teams rushing up to the line of scrimmage. This is going to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker. Just a slugfest for 4 quarters. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning. Let's see here. Mangoes. Good morning, Rocky. All right. So that brings us up to the game that we all want to talk about. We just addressed it in depth earlier, but that's the CFP quarterfinal between number 2 Ohio State's high-powered defense and potentially high-powered offense versus the much overrated and much maligned Miami Hurricanes. Julian Sand comes in leading the country in completion percentage, nearly 78.5%. He's got great wideouts who are both completely healthy now. OSU's defense allows less than 220 yards per game. They've only given up 10 touchdowns all season. Miami arrives with some momentum after its first ever CFP win, a 10-3 rock fight over A&M. But you know what? The Hurricanes forced 3 turnovers, 7 sacks, and rode Mark Fletcher to that win. I don't think you see that versus Ohio State. Ohio State has too much firepower. The Hurricanes don't have enough defensive power. So Miami wants this to be a very physical, run-oriented game where they control a lot of the clock. Something that we saw out of Ohio State a lot of this year. And I think Ohio State's ready to do just the opposite. They can play that style of football, but I think that they want to open it up. I think they want to really see this team explode just like what we saw last season. And I think that's exactly what you're going to see. Now, number 4, Texas Tech. Number 5, Oregon. Guys, Oregon's going to try to light up the scoreboard in this one. Texas Tech, one of the best defenses I've ever seen. They fly around. They're crazy. Texas Tech has evolved into a tempo-driven attack. They got a quarterback comfortable pushing the ball downfield vertically. I think this could, believe it or not, could actually cause an Oregon team that's very similar some struggles. Even though they practice against it constantly, I think it provides some struggle for this team. The Ducks have, I think, better guys on the edge. I think that you're going to have to scheme up some things to help protect your quarterback. But if you protect your quarterback and your Texas Tech, you're going to be competitive. Then we've got the Alabama Crimson Tide coming in at number 9 versus the number 1 Indiana Hosers. The Hosers are fresh off their Big Ten title win over Ohio State. They get Alabama here. A matchup I'm sure they didn't want. I'm sure they don't like. The Buckeyes held Indiana to 10 points. Can Alabama do the same? I don't think Alabama's defense is as good as Ohio State's, but they're not bad. if they can remember how to play defense. That's the question. Sorry, guys, I got to block a user. We've got some craziness going on here. Okay, so Alabama is going to use its usual collection of blue chip playmakers. Um, it's been a little more uneven this season than what we're used to seeing out of Alabama, but I'm telling you, this is a good Alabama team. This is a great Indiana team. Uh, I see a path to an upset, but I'm going to go with Indiana because I really want Indiana in the finals. I want Ohio State to give Indiana the beatdown they should have done for the Big Ten title. Then we have Georgia and Ole Miss. A rematch from the regular season. I think that Georgia's defense is superior here. I give the edge in coaching, of course, to Georgia, Kirby and his 2 national titles. I think that Ole Miss is all about tempo. They're about offensive fireworks. They're about moving the ball up and down the field quickly. So I think that you're looking at a game here that just, I think it's going to be a slugfest. I will check on this for you before we get off the air here, Colonel. All right. We have the I just got a message from Vader. Hold on, let's see if any information is dropping here while we're on the air. Okay. Okay. So, no new information. He was just letting me know he received a package that he'd ordered from me. Okay. So, the Armed Forces Bowl. We have Texas State and Rice, a stage to showcase, contrasting styles. You got Texas State, they're an up tempo, aggressive attack versus a methodical Rice team. A battle for Texas that, let's face it, most people are not going to be too excited about outside the state of Texas. Rice is going to try to grind this thing out with its run game. Of course, Texas State's going to try to air this thing out, move the ball quickly, get up and down the field. So that's where they are at. Hey, one of interest here to some people who are Cincinnati fans. We have Navy versus Cincinnati in the Liberty Bowl. You got tactical battle between Navy's option game and Cincinnati's spread style offense. The defenses, I think, are both pretty good in this. Navy's success is going to hinge on staying on schedule, avoiding penalties, forcing Cincinnati to defend the full width of the option. That means they're going to try to push them side to side on the field. You're going to have to be able to move both vertically and horizontally in order to really stay with this defense or stay with this offense. Guys, I like Navy in this one. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see Cincinnati win, but I really like Navy in that one. Mississippi State versus Wake Forest. That's the Duke's Mayo Bowl. My God, are we just getting ridiculous with these bowl games or what? Talk to me. What do you think about these bowl games, these ridiculous bowl games sponsored by everyone that really mean nothing? What can we do to fix this? Because most of the players, unless it's a CFP game, your top tier players, a lot of them are opting out anyhow. Why? What are we doing here? Seriously, guys, talk to me. Anyhow, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, Mississippi State, Wake Forest. I think this is one where I like Wake Forest has that slow mesh, that RPO slow mesh game. It's designed to stress the linebackers, stress the safeties. Mississippi State's familiar with different types of offenses, though, playing in the SEC. Offensively, the Bulldogs, you got to think they're going to try to lean on their own balance. They're going to take calculated shots. against a weaker Wake Forest secondary. Yes, in fact, I hear they bathed in the mayo the night before. It's like Jello wrestling, only in mayonnaise. Okay, guys, then the last of the bowl season, outside of the CFP remaining games, would be the Holiday Bowl. Number 17, Arizona, SMU. Uh, Arizona's got a high octane passing game. SMU aggressive air raid inspired attack. Guys, you're going to want to go the over in this one because these teams know how to score. Arizona's quarterback receiver combination has been among the most productive in the country. SMU has its own spread style of offense that it thrives on tempo. It thrives in spacing. Neither defense has consistently been dominant. That's going to put a big emphasis on that red zone defense. You're going to want touchdowns. You're not going to want field goals because you're going to likely need that to keep pace. I think a game that's in the high 30s, low 40s for both teams is not out of the question here. And I think a single turnover, a special teams error, a botched punt, something like it, something small is going to turn this game from one side to the other. Okay. So that brings us to our picks to click. I got 3 of them for you this week. I talked about Pitt and East Carolina earlier. I really like Pitt's quarterback. I believe an Ohio kid, if I'm not mistaken, that's playing quarterback now for the Panthers. I feel like East Carolina is severely overmatched. They're severely depleted. I really feel like, yes, I know it's 13.5. But you know what? I don't think 13.5 is enough. I think Pitt runs with this one. Renee Martinez, what have you got to say here? Remember, Chris, these smaller bowls used to give a chance for these smaller schools to build on. Yes, it did. Until crybaby schools started taking their ball and going home and opting out. It gave the little guy a chance to get up on the big stage, and now it's just not. So couldn't help it there, Renee. ECU has 4 starting offensive players who opted out. Yes, absolutely. That is correct, Eric. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like this is a runaway game for Pitt. Penn State and Clemson. Guys, Clemson is a mid-team from a bad conference. Yes, they won 4 in a row at the end of the season against nobody. Penn State has had its issues, started off awful, fought their way back to bowl eligibility in a real conference, not in the MAC Plus, which is what the ACC really is. Clemson's laying 2.5. Guys, this is basically a pick-em game. Give me Penn State. I like Penn State here. I think Penn State goes out and wins this game. BYU might be the easiest pick on the board. BYU is only laying 3.5 to Georgia Tech, but they, I think, are a far superior team. So for me, guys, I'm all about BYU in this one. Before we wrap things up, guys, I'm going to go through some final chats, let you guys ask any questions you may have, and we will go from there. Oh, I did want to address, someone asked about Archie Griffin's health here, and if we had any updates. So I'm going to do a quick search and see if there's any updates. Let's see here. I don't know if there's any kind of updates publicly out there right now, so nothing to see here is what we're going to go with. All right. Lisa, I can't wait to play Miami and try to shut their fans the heck up. Yeah, their fans are maybe more ignorant and arrogant than even the fans of Indiana or Michigan. I don't know. They're crying about a game from 23 plus years ago or 23 years ago. They cry, they cry, they cry. That's all they do is whine and cry. And the fact is, ignore that last play because it shouldn't even have mattered. What should have happened at the end of regulation is there should have been a pass interference called against Miami that would have extended Ohio State drive and had them in victory formation. And overtime never should have even been an issue. Let's see here. Yeah. Coconut, how you doing, bro? That's a good question. Let's see here. Yes, indeed. I think Miami can give us problems on defense, but their offense is horrible. I don't disagree that defense is their strength. I think if our tackles hold up, guys, I really feel like this is going to be a good game for Ohio State. Um, I really feel like we're going to see a different Ohio State. I think we're going to see an Ohio State that is closer to what we saw last year in the playoffs than what we saw all year under the keep it simple, stupid offense that Ryan Day was allowing Brian Hartline to run. Um, I think that, like I said, Ryan Day is the innovator. He's the architect. He is the guy who designed this playbook, and no one knows it better. And I think he's going to be able to fully integrate that playbook in a way that Brian Hartline just wasn't prepared to do. Let's see. Chris, when you're referring to crybaby schools, would you be referring to Notre Dame by chance? Actually, Notre Dame, Miami, uh, Indiana. They are the. I've never seen an undefeated team be as big a crybabies as they are. Uh, let's not forget the cheaters up north. They cry on TV for show. Let's see, but you can go with whoever. Okay, all right, guys. Well, I've gotten to the end of the chat. So what we're going to do at this time, guys, I think we're going to call it a day. Buckeye Nation, that's going to do it for today's Saturday edition of the OHIO podcast. If you're rocking the scarlet and gray today, make sure you carry that energy with you all through this week, right through that December 31st playoff game. Right, carry that energy right into the new year, guys. Whether you're rewatching classic wins, debating depth charts, or just reminding the world why Ohio State is the standard in college football, make sure you're doing it loud and proud. As always, if you liked what you heard, subscribe, rate the show, share the show, follow us on all of our socials. And guys, don't forget Patreon. I'm telling you, you will regret it. Don't forget Patreon. Keep those hot takes coming to us because around here, the conversation never stops. I'm the Wild Man, Chris Wilds. This has been the OHIO podcast. Good day. God bless. Go Bucks.